Thanks, Linda, and welcome to everybody to Raising the Game. This event is always, I think, much more special when we can host it on our home ground here in Darlington, and that's made possible by the relationship with Darlington Arts Centre. So I just want to underline our appreciation to Linda and all of her staff for making this possible for us to be here. Having you all gathered here is obviously a wonderful opportunity to be able to say a few words about some of the changes and developments that are happening here at NAYT, and sort of explain why they've come about and give you a bit of an insight into what we're up to. We're very proud of our history and of our achievements today, to date, and from where we've come from, and we're now very clear about where we're heading. We've got a very clear vision and a comprehensive programme. But none of that is possible. None of that would have been possible without a skilled and committed staff team, without a very supportive board, and without a patient and understanding sector, which is you. And all of those things are even more necessary when you're going through a period of change. Changes are necessary sometimes. I know some people sort of change for the sake of changing. And I want to sort of talk to you about why those changes are necessary. And sometimes necessary changes make you unpopular. And I think in the first instance, our decision not to run BYTF is one of the decisions and the changes that we've made that has probably made us a little bit unpopular. And I'm hoping that by the end of my explanation that you'll be understand why we've done that. We feel very strongly that by not doing that, it's given us an opportunity to strengthen the infrastructure of our organisation and to be much more strategic in the way in which we can support the development of the whole sector. So basically, the main reason for the changes that we're undergoing is so that we can offer a service to all of our youth theatres. Now, in 2003, NAYT changed from being a membership organisation and became a development agency. And that might just sound like language and a bit pedantic, but it was quite a fundamental change. At the time, we had 275 members, and now, in 2009, we've got 1,040 registered groups. So it was about encouraging more people to get involved with NAYT. So the shift has to now be about supporting the whole sector rather than servicing a few members. We need to also make the shift to becoming proactive in implementing our priorities. And that is, rather than reacting to the individual needs of a membership, it's about supporting the development of youth theatre in a much wider sort of stand-back way, in that we're supporting what you need to happen. The sector is very wide and very diverse, and you've all got different needs at different times. And what we need to do is not standardise or streamline that, but offer services that can support everybody. What we need also to do is engage passive and non-registered groups. We know that even though we've got 1,040 at the moment, there are a lot more groups out there that we don't know about and who are not engaging with us and accessing our services. So for all of that, we have made some changes which you may not even be aware of because they've been very much internal at the moment, but you're going to be sort of drip-fed these changes over the next 12 months. And the changes lead us towards linking all of the strands of the work that we do into a fully coordinated approach. One of the most fundamental ones is that we realise that NAYT needs to have a regional presence and has regional activity in order to become truly national. Youth theatre is a local activity, it's not a national activity, and youth theatre happens in your local area. So we need to have a presence in the local area. So over the next 12 months, we'll be establishing 9 regional associate venues. Each of those venues will produce a regional youth theatre festival, and in 2010, there will be 9 regional youth theatre festivals. We've already piloted the first of these in the East Midlands in January. It was at the Castle in Wellingborough, and we'll be piloting another one this year. So although BYTF not happening this year, and next may well have made us unpopular in the short term, we're hoping that the emergence of 9 regional festivals, so you all can access a festival in your area, will start to build a network in your area, and will start to build the sector and strengthen the sector, and will make sense out of the national festival when it returns. So we do plan to bring back the National Festival. We're hoping very much to bring back a National Festival by 2011, but I have to be really honest, at the moment we don't have the funding for that. But we've got a bit of time to do lots of fundraising, and we are looking for a strategic partner in helping to deliver that festival, and we're looking for sponsorship. So bear with us, and some kind of return of BYTF. I couldn't stand up here without mentioning the dreaded word that everybody's hearing in every news item, every newspaper, which is the recession. The economic climate obviously will be affecting everybody, and I'm sure youth theatre will be no different. But I was recently at a conference that kind of said recession equals depression, and I wholeheartedly say I don't think that's necessarily the case. And there's a lot of people in the arts and culture arenas who are saying actually the recession, if we approach it, if we respond to it in a positive way, it could be a renaissance for the arts in this country. In terms of the sort of financial restrictions on youth theatres, I'm not sure that the impact of the recession is going to be that huge, because youth theatre has always been very poor. There's not many youth theatres that are given a huge amount of cash resources, but what youth theatre does have is it's very, very rich in people resources, it's very rich in skills, and it could become richer in networks. So I think if we concentrate on people, skills, resources and networks, we'll be able to contribute to the wider health of your organisations. I think in terms of the people skills, the youth theatre sector, which is you guys, are full of very artistic creators and nurturers of young people. And it's a sector that is absolutely committed to the work that it does. And for all of those reasons, I believe that youth theatre will continue to be successful throughout this recession. There's been, the terminology has started to change in the arts and culture sector to talking about organisations that are resilient as opposed to sustainable. The idea being that if you're resilient, you can change with the climate, with the changes that are going on, and survive it, as opposed to sustainability, which means that you stay the same. And there's been some really interesting blogging going on about this. So I don't know if anybody's seen it, but if you haven't and you're interested, I would certainly point you towards Mark Robinson's blog on arts counselling, and I can give you the web address for that afterwards, anybody who's interested to come and see me. So just still on the recession, I think the other thing that we need to think about, it may not hit our organisations that hard, it might, but it will definitely affect the young people that we work with. And so I think some of the things we need to be thinking about is looking at the agencies and support networks that we need to make links with in order to support young people through some of the hard times that they might be facing, with be it family pressures, be it getting involved in crime, being it difficult to get into employment. It's quite clear there will be no increase in resources for us as a sector serving young people, but there will definitely be increased pressure on us to support the young people we work with. But I believe that if we can be positive about this, if we've got positive thinking, positive action, and we can be creative and adaptable, then we stand a chance, a very good chance, of surviving the recession. And one of the ways we're being encouraged to do that is through partnerships, collaboration and consortiums. I think we've always encouraged partnership and collaborative working through NAYT, but it's going to become much more necessary. So I think that some of the things we need to be thinking about in developing our work is looking at cross-art form opportunities, looking at cross-sector opportunities, opportunities that creative partnerships and Find Your Talent might have to offer. And looking at ways in which we can share resources and make what we've got go much further. And I think we can do all of this through partnership working and collaboration. We will certainly be looking with our associate venues to making consortium funding bids with a network of youth theatres in each region. So in terms of funding opportunities, some of the initiatives that are happening, some of the changes that are going on nationally, you're probably all aware that in your local areas there will be the emergence of children's trust boards. Most local funding for young people's activities now will be channelled through children's trust boards. And so I urge you, if you've got any free capacity in your busy lives, to get someone in your organisation to become involved in your children's trust board, not only for the funding opportunities, but also for the profile, to make people more aware of the benefits of youth theatre. And talking of benefits of youth theatre, funding opportunities are becoming much more outcomes focused. Everything is talking every way. We need to prove the outcomes. We need to prove the benefits, the difference that our work makes. So we need to start looking at what the outcomes will be. And of course we have the threat of a general election and everything changing again and all the criteria, and so we go one way and then we've got to change it all and do it again. But I think Every Child Matters outcomes are now so firmly embedded in government policy that they will outlive any change in government. So if we can be guided by the 5 outcomes of Every Child Matters, it will make a difference to us making successful bids. There's also a move in government towards going for commissioning rather than grant giving, so commissioning and contracts rather than grants. And those will only be possible to a youth theatre sector if we do start looking at collaborations and working alongside others. There's a really good training course that NAVCA are offering if people want to become an organisation that is commissioned to do work. It's worth having a look at what they've got to offer.